ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगुणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थे विघ्नेश्वराट् तेने ब्रह्म हृदय आदि कवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, Chapter 9, verse number 30. We read about Dhruva's having the darshan of the Supreme Lord after his austerities, and Dhruva recited very nice prayers. Then Lord blessed him by fulfilling his desire according to his sankalpa for which he has started the austerities, and he said that he will get the permanent position above the other planetary systems, and he will rule for 36,000 years. So after this, Dhruva was not very happy because he realized that he had asked for something very insignificant. So you go to some billionaire person and ask for $10. So that is useless. Better not ask. So therefore Vidura, he had asked this question that why was he unhappy, and then Maitreya said that because he did not ask for devotion to the Lord. And not ask for devotion to the Lord is not now, because in the prayers he did ask for it. But in the beginning he prayed, or he began with the intention to get a position. And now Lord fulfilled that desire, so he is feeling like he has made a big mistake. Therefore he was very much repenting. So next few verses are in that mood of humility and repenting. So Dhruva said, Samadhina naika bhavena yat padam विदुषनन्दाय ऊर्ध्वरेतसः Masairaham Sadviramusya Padaya Chayam Petya Pigatah Pritham Matihi. So he says that the position which Sananda etc., the four Kumaras who are known as Urdhvreta or celibate brahmacharis, the position which they attained after many births, I attained that in 6 months. But when Lord came, I was not able to attain the proper boon because of my separatist mentality. Prithagmati. So this word Prithagmati, Bhinnadrik or Bhinna Buddhi comes many times in Bhagavatam, and this signifies the independent feeling or consciousness of a living being. Because if you ask something from the Lord except for love for Him, that means you are considering yourself as independent of the Lord. Something which you want to do besides Him, not taking Him into consideration. If you have love for the Lord, then everything is there. But if you ask a power, position, money, wealth, that means you want to enjoy without taking Lord into the picture. So that is the meaning of separatist mentality. And that is the real disease of the living beings here in this material world. There is no other problem. There is only one problem, that we want to remain independent enjoyers. You can also enjoy with God, and then God is going to starve you and not give you food. But we want to eat separate from Him, not with Him. And that does not lead us to fulfillment in our life or happiness. So that's why we keep on saying this. So although Dhruva, he saw the Lord, but then what did he ask him? Give me, of course not now, but what he got is that give me the position. That means now you came, you are happy with me, give me this, you go home, and I go and I enjoy this position. So this is not the perfection of life, because we are part of God, and our fulfillment comes only by love of God. So anything else will keep us separate from Him, because it is only love which unites. Even if people are related by blood, they may not be united in their hearts. Sometimes, and now it is very common, that brothers, sisters, or parent, father and son, and the daughter and mother, or in all these relations there is fight. Sometimes brothers become their worst enemies. So although they are related by blood, but there is no love. So the real bondage, real relationship is through love. And if that we do not have for God, then we are not related to Him. And therefore, we remain in our suffering situation. So this is the problem with Dhruva, and this story is here to teach us this message. The story of Dhruva is that we should not make a mistake like this. That he worked very hard, and Lord was pleased, he came, but then what did he gain? So he himself is now realizing this, that even Sanat Kumaras, they did not achieve or have the darshan of the Lord immediately like this. So Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti says, Naik bhavena bahujanam abhyastena, that even they did not get this in one life, because they practiced for many lifetimes. So spiritual life if it does not get completed in one life, then you take birth and you continue. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 6th chapter, when Arjuna asked that if a yogi does not complete his process and becomes deviated, then what happens? So then he says that he will be born in a good family, Suchinam Srimatam Gehe Yoga Bhastopajaya. Athva, or he will be born in some family of yogis. So in the rich family, pious family, or the family of the yogis. And from there he will again continue his process. Somehow or other, after some time, he will come back to the path. Actually, this is what happened to Dhruva also. Because he was a yogi in the past life. But he had a friendship with the prince. And because of that friendship with the prince, he became attracted to opulence. And otherwise it's not possible that in such a short period he became perfected. Unless one has special grace of the Lord. So actually everyone goes through a few births to attain perfection. And that is because we don't become fixed in one lifetime. Always some leanings are there for our past associations. One can become fixed in one lifetime and one can also become perfect in one, but it's not so common. So therefore it says, Naika Bhavena Bahu Janam Abhyastena. And next he says that Padayos Chaya Mupetya, that I got the shelter of the shade of Lord's lotus feet. So he comments that Garudarudasya Hare Pad Chayam Stitam Atmanam Smaranaha. That when Lord came on the Garuda, then he must have come from the side where the sun was. So his shadow was falling on Dhruva. Dhruva is a small boy and he was the big Lord on the Garuda. So he stood in the shadow, literally. So he says that I came under the shadow of Lord's lotus feet, but now I have been thrown away again. So that's what he is remembering. So apagato adhapatita, he says, I am fallen down again. Yat yasmat prithak vishwaye matiriyasya sa. Why is this? Because I fixed my mind on something different than the Lord. So bhakti means anyavilasita sunni, not having any other desire whatsoever, just one desire. It is not possible to be without desire. So have just one desire, and that is desire for love of the Lord. So then you are called free of desire. So this is what we should practice, cultivate all the time, because desires keep coming in the mind. We have to analyze our desires, whether they are leading to this one desire or they are going against the desire which should be our only desire. That is called sadhana. The mind always runs after this, after that. So you have to see whether this activity I am performing now, what is the outcome of this. So that's why Dhruva is now seeing that his desire is not in line with the love, priti, surrender to God. Because you become, his desire was that I will one day show to my father who I am, basically. That I have a power which is more than you. Many times it happens that they are rich parents and the sons leave home and they want to show that they can make more money than the father. It's in their ego. Because they don't want to always be seen that, oh, he is the son of a rich father. This hurts their ego. So rich children also have this problem because of the father. If the father is famous or rich, then they don't have a chance to be superior. They are always identified, oh, he is son of so and so. So this is not very pleasing to them. To us it may be nice, oh, he is actually son of such a great person, but that person himself is thinking that I don't have my own identity. My identity is always because of this. So they actually hate it from inside. Many times they leave home just to show that I will also do something and show that I am somebody. So Dhruva also left home. He wanted to show that I am also somebody. But now he is repenting. So Ateva Mam Swasangena Prabhu Swadham Na Anashiditi Bhava. So the meaning is that Lord came on the Garuda and it was a two-seater helicopter. So he could have just pulled him up and taken him to his own abode, but he left him there. So he said he did not take me with him to his abode. This is my misfortune. That's what he is repenting. He would like to go with him. Ahobat mamanatmyam mandabhagyasya pashuta bhavachidah parmule gatvayacherantavat. He said, just see how unfortunate I am and how ignorant I am. What is that? That I saw the Lord who can destroy material existence, Bhavachida. And I attained his feet, but what did I ask for? Something which will have an end. So what is the use of that? Suppose you work very hard, and by working hard you can get two things. Either you can get salary for rest of your life and don't have to work again, or you can get money which will last you for 1 year. So which one is better? With the same effort. So yo dhruvam aparityajya here dhruvam nasuyata. Those who give up the permanent benefit and run after the temporary benefit, then permanent they rejected and the temporary will go away. So what is the end result? Nil. So same Dhruva asks for power, position, but this will be taken away. Of course in his case it's not the thing, but he's thinking like this. So then all this effort is useless. With the same effort, if you can get a permanent benefit, then why not get that? So our body is temporary, it exists for a fixed period of time, and that also it is not always in a healthy situation. Old age you cannot do much, as a child you cannot do much, as a youth you are a little bit crazy. So there are only few years that we can do something good, and that attain, with that also we can attain permanent benefit, love of man. But if we simply waste it, running here and there, going for this club, that club, then in the old age what will you do? Nothing. You die and your chance is wasted. So he's thinking like this, that he wasted this such a nice chance. So anatmya, anatmyam atmasunyatvam agyatvam. He's calling himself as anatmya, means he has no atma. Atma here means not soul, but intelligence. So he says, I'm not very wise, because I made an unwise decision. Bhavachidah aprarthito api yo bhaktasya bhavam chinatti tasya padmulam gatva vaishnavya dikshaya eva prapya vedantavat tadahanyat. He says that I attained the feet of the Lord, and Lord is such that He destroys material existence even without asking for it. So, and I ask for something insignificant. Says that even if one takes Vaishnava Diksha, then one's material existence is destroyed. That is the power of Vaishnava Diksha. So he says that I am such stupid that I ask for something material. Praptam sankalpam akarvam iti mameva dosha. So he did not ask for it, but he did the sankalpa in the beginning. So he says this is my defect and not the defect of the Lord. Prabhustu tadapi kripyanaswaram eva padam dhamma. But Lord is so gracious that even then He has given me imperishable position. Only thing is that although He has given him imperishable position, but He has not given him intimate loving relation. Okay, I give you a permanent place, you can stay there, but He's not very intimate with the Lord. That's what he is feeling now. Tato gantasi masthanam iti taduktariti vāva. Because Lord said that you will go to that place from where you don't come back. Yato navartate puni. So He has definitely given him permanent position, but that also is not enough. So there are 5 types of liberation, and one of them is to have a residence on the same planet as the Lord. But this is also not very great. Of course, it is better than going to heaven or having Sahija Mukti, merging into the Lord. That you are living in the same planet of the Lord, but it's like you live in the city and the Prime Minister is also living in the same city. So you are doing your own thing, he is doing his own thing. Maybe once in a while you see him in some procession or some big assembly when he comes for a political speech. But you don't have any intimate relationship, living in the same cities. So that is called Salokya Mukti. That you live on the same planet, very big planet, in one corner you also live. Maybe once in a while you see the Lord. So Dhruva is like that. Matir vidushita devaihi patadbhira sahishnubhihi yo naradvachastatya nagrahi samasattamaha. Now he is blaming the devas. Sometimes you also console yourself by blaming others and feels okay. Anyway, it's not my mistake, somebody else. So he says that these devas, the aliens, there are 2 types of aliens. One type of aliens who come to India, and the other type of aliens who come to Canada and US. There are other types of aliens, don't mix them. The aliens who come to India, they are the divine aliens. And the aliens who come to America, they are the demoniac aliens. So I say that these aliens, the divine type aliens, they confused me. And that's why I got this wrong idea in my head. They twisted my head, as they say. So sometimes the aliens, they do that. You know this whole theory? that there are 8 or 9 very powerful people on earth who are controlling everything. You know that George Bush was one of them. He was an agent. So they are controlling their mind. That go and attack Afghanistan, attack Iran. And if they don't do that, they will come and brainwash them at night. So this is how aliens also work. People don't know this. Now there is a big theory, they have figured it out. And Dhruva is also talking about it. It's an old theory, not new. So he says that Matir Vidushita Devai, that these devas, these gods in the upper planetary system, they polluted my mind. They put a wrong program inside my head. Because we are actually not independent. We only think we are independent. But we are working according to what is in my head. So now you have a nice thought sitting here in the class. When you go out, another thought comes. Then you work on that. So if someone is planting a thought in you, suppose some people have this power that they can change your thought process. Then where is your power? So all these TV advertisements, all these news channels, what are they trying to do? They are trying to twist your head by giving you wrong information, presented very pleasingly. Wrong information presented very rightly. That's their job. So you don't see that the information is wrong. You see how nicely it is presented, you get captivated. Then you get a wrong idea, then your head is twisted, then you work for them. Buy their product, although you don't need it. So this is what aliens also do sometimes. Because they don't want to see, these aliens are also envious people. They don't want to see that somebody goes above them. So Dhruva is going up above them. So they became envious. He said, oh, he wants to go to Vaikuntha, let's twist this guy's hand. So they polluted his mind. That's what he's saying. So Matir Vidushita Devi Patadbhir Asahishnu, because they are intolerant. Although they are little bit more divine than human beings, but they are not completely pure-hearted people. They are also jealous. And especially they become very envious if some human beings are trying to make an effort here, spiritual. So they also put obstacles for spiritual people. So that this guy remain bound here. They don't like to see, because these people in the higher planetary system, they have very long life. They live for millions of years. And they remain stuck in their post. They cannot move up from there. Then they see somebody, this guy he took birth just few seconds ago in their calculation. In few minutes, he is going to Vaikuntha. How can we allow this? So block the fellow. So this is politics. This is higher politics. Alien politics.
What's it called? Exo?
What is it? There is a name for it?
Exopolitics.
Exopolitics.
EXO.
Exopolitics. So it's actually true. That professor is not wrong. Because it's there in our scriptures.
So even if somebody surrender to the Lord, they can do that?
Yeah, still they try to give him hell. Only thing is that if one is really surrendered, it doesn't disturb them. But they create disturbance. Because they are used to this politics, And so politicians will always do politics wherever they get chance. Just like a businessman will always do business whenever opportunity knocks. If it is not knocking, he will knock himself.
In the Christian theology, they also talk about this. And they say, instead of aliens, they say devil.
Devil. But these are not devils, these are good guys. But these good guys also have bad side. Everybody has some good side and bad side. So these are good people otherwise. they also help, but they only help. You see, politician is like this. That politician will help, but not help that you sit on his head. If you remain under his feet, he will keep on helping. If you come right next to his shoulder to shoulder, then he will kick you down. So no politician wants that somebody comes up. They watch very carefully. And if they see someone is going to be a threat, then they will do their best to put him down. So this is politics. So Devas are also scared that someone can take their position, their power, or go beyond them. Going beyond, of course, is totally intolerable. Asahishnu means. So only a devotee of the Lord, he is most tolerant and non-envious person. Because he has nothing to worry. Lord is unlimited. Why there is politics? Because things here in the material world are limited. There is only one post for president and then there are 5 candidates. So only one is going to get, other 4 has to be kicked down. But in case of having love for the Lord, there is no limit. Anybody can love him. So why to be envious? So only a devotee is non-envious. Everyone else, some envy is lurking, even if it is not very explicit, it is hiding. So the most important qualification therefore for a devotee is to be Nirmat Saranam Sakha. It is spoken in the very beginning of Bhagavatam, to be free from this envious nature. So to be yourself the controller, master, don't want to give this. If I give this to this guy, he will become my competitor. So I have to protect it. I should be the only one who knows this. Right? This is also envy. No, you give, God will give more. After all, how you got it? You are not born with it. This is God's gift. So give it. God is giving. If you give, He is happy. So you don't become a kripana, miserly, like Dhunduli. So what is the use? If knowledge is there, if you have some talent, then give it to him. So Devas are very much scared. Although they are very high class people, they have a lot of knowledge, much more power than us. They can fly, they have various types of mystic perfections. They can sing very nicely. And they know the Vedas. But still their hearts are not clean. Why? Because they are not fully devoted. They also want to be independent. Prithagmati. As long as one will have this idea that I am independent of God, or I want to be independent of God, this envy will continue. The only time when one says that yes, I am one with God, I am surrendered with God, then the envy goes away. Because then nothing, envy whom? And for what reason? There is no more competition. Don't have to hold on to this. So he says, Patadbhira Sahishnubhi Yo Narad Vachas Tathya Nagraheswaram. He says, that's why I did not accept the statement of Narada. When he met Narada, he was trying to preach to him that why are you so much concerned about this honor and dishonor? You are just a little boy, 5-year-old boy. What is it? So he says, I said, no, I have to take revenge. Your words don't have any effect on me. He said like that. So he says, why did I? He says, it's not because I am like that. It is because of the devas. So this is human mind. Put your own fault on somebody else's head, then you feel very comfortable. Because the ego does not like to see suffer itself, put down. You have to keep your image clean. If I have one dot on my image, then it bothers me. So I remove it and I put it on somebody else. Or even if I have it, at least somebody else should also have it. Then he said, I'm not the only one, he's also like that. So he feels satisfied then. So they say that misery loves company. So no alien is troubling him. He was angry, came from his home, and no deva is there to disturb his mind, but he is trying to console himself. Mind and dimag. Somehow you have to keep your head cool. So this is one way to pacify. Then you feel relaxed. I mean, it's not my mistake. Somebody else is responsible for it. But then you don't make progress. If you want to make progress in spiritual life, then you must learn to take responsibility for your own actions. Even if it is others' mistake, you should go to the other extreme. Then think it is because of my own mistake. Usually it is other way around, that it's your mistake and put it on somebody's head. It is because of this person that I am suffering. So that then you are making sure that you don't make any spiritual progress. Materially you can do whatever you like, but spiritually you don't advance. Why? Because you are making it sure that I remain where I am. I keep my image intact, which is material anyway. And God knows it. And others also know. Not only God knows, many others also. So we should learn to accept our mistakes. Not because somebody is trying to pull me down or anything, because I want to advance, so I have to progress, and I will progress only if I recognize my problems. That's why Krishna told to Arjuna. But Arjuna was thinking he is very compassionate. So he said, what compassion? You are a coward. Shudram Hridaya Dharmali. You are an Arya. You are American. The Aryans came from Europe. Right? An Arya means not Arya. So Europe, and from Europe up to India, all Aryan. And beyond Atlantic, all an Arya. So he said, you are an Arya, you are American. How can you do like this? So he was trying to pinpoint his fault. And unless we recognize our mistakes, we cannot correct them. It's not possible. If I don't know what is my disease, how will I cure it? And even if I have a disease and somebody tells me and I get angry. So if you have fever and someone tells you, oh, looks like you have fever, you don't get angry. Right? But if you have envy and somebody tells you you are envious, you are immediately angry. Why is that? Because envy is more close to me. Fever is in the body, which is a little bit removed. There is subtle body, there is a gross body. So it is one step removed. I don't like it. Somebody says something about my body also. But sometimes I feel I am not the body. So its fever is not in me, it's in the body. But when you say envy, that is very close. Because it's in the mind and mind is right next. So it's like you are just putting an arrow inside me. You are putting a screw inside. So that's why these things bother more. They are very difficult to swallow and also very difficult to give up. Fever, okay, take some aspirin or Tylenol to go away. But what about envy? So first I don't even want to accept that I am envious. And even if I accept for a short period. As soon as the person goes away, then you try to rationalize that actually I am not so envious. This guy is envious, therefore he is seeing envy in me. I am actually a nice fellow. Look how I help everybody. Right? So it doesn't work like that in spiritual life. So why these statements are being made here? So that we can understand it about ourselves. There is no problem about Dhruva. He was alright guy. He is saying it so that we can put ourselves in his footsteps and understand. That is the game. This is the politics. This is called not exopolitics. This is called spiritual politics. Spiritual politics means how to empower you by showing you your defects. Material politics is how to disempower you by finding all faults in you and making you feel miserable. Right? That's why politicians are always pointing fingers at each other. This is their big pleasure. So here what is he doing? This is a very great politics. He is not pointing finger, he is telling about himself. He says actually I am wrong. And God the Lord, and I did this and I did that. So that's why I did not take good instructions of Narada. He told me, I didn't listen to him. Swasya agyatayam karanam sambhavati matiri. So he is making a conjecture about his unwise decision. That he says maybe these aliens, these gods, devas, they disturbed my mind. Patadbhir madapekshya adha patadbhi ateva asansilai. It says thinking that I am going above them. So being intolerant. Narada vachaha nadhunapi amanante ityadi. Therefore I did not listen to the instruction of Sri Narada that he is just a boy. And why do you worry about these things? Devim mayam upashritya prasuptaiva bhinna drik tapye dvitiye piyasati bhatri bhatri vahudruja. He says that I actually became influenced by the Maya of the Lord, and therefore I developed this thought that I am separate from the God. And tapye dvitiye piyasati, I became attached to second, just like one goes into the dream state, prasuptaiva. Like when you sleep and you think of yourself somebody else and you may fear. So he says, therefore I am also bewildered like this, and bhatri bhatrivya hridruja. So I became angry at my brother and thought that my brother is my enemy. So bhatri means brother and bhatrivya means enemy. This enmity among the brothers is so common that in Sanskrit they made a word from brother only, which means enemy. Bhatrivya actually means related to brother, literally. But the word actually means an enemy. So that means there's this rivalry among brothers is such a common thing that the word Bhatrivya came to mean enemy. So it is very interesting. It says Bhatri Bhatrivya Hridruja. It says that my heart was burning thinking that my brother is my enemy. So the brother is not enemy. Enemy is his own mind, his own ego. After all, if he was a little humble, then there was no problem. But he was not. And even up to the extent that when Narada tried to tell him that why are you so upset, why are you so disturbed, you are just a young fellow, just a boy. What a small boy, what is the honor, dishonor for him? So he did not listen to anybody. So now he is thinking that maybe this is God's Maya. प्रसुप्तः स्वप्नान् पश्यन् यथा द्वितीये असति अपि व्याघ्र सर्पादिभ्यः खिद्यति तदेव. So he said, just like when you dream, and then in the dream you see that a tiger is chasing you, right? You have dreamt like that sometime? Tiger behind you, and you are running.
No tiger, but giants.
Giants. Okay, now because tigers are getting extinct. Previously there were many tigers in India. Now there are only 1,800 remaining. So we don't dream of tigers now. Otherwise previously in India people will have nightmare of tiger chasing because the tigers were living in the forest. Even I saw one photograph in Radha Gopinath Mandir, old photograph, maybe around 1920, 30. There is a tiger sitting in the temple. Yeah, some photo. Went to the Goswami house, Krishna Goswami, she showed me it was just hanging there. So there are tigers here also, lot of tigers. So when you dream of a tiger, this tiger is your own creation, but you fear it. So this is an illusion. There is no tiger coming behind you and eating you or jumping on you. So you are creating your own tiger and fearing it. So like that, there was no enemy. Dhruva's brother was not Dhruva's enemy, but he assumed that he is my enemy, and therefore his heart was burning with anger that I have to somehow teach him a lesson. So this is how our mind works. We create many enemies out of ignorance. We imagine things out of ignorance. And then we get into trouble. We create trouble for ourselves and also for others. So this is how we waste our time. So he says that Prasuptah swapnan pasyan yatha dvitiya sati api vyagra sarpadibhya. We may fear a snake in the dream. Bhrata eva bhratribhya satru tasmati hadrut pida taya aham tapya vithaya. So he says that I was in so much pain, my heart was full of grief, pain, thinking that my brother is my enemy. Yataha atmadrishtya aham sachamad bhratera iti ubhayopi bhagavato jivakya tastasya shakti vrittirupa. He says if we see from the spiritual point of view, then I am a soul, I am Atma. My brother is also Atma. We are not the body. And both are the Tatastha Shakti or intermediate potency of the Lord. So where is the question of being enemy? Both belong to the same Lord, both are energy of the Lord. So there is no enmity. Deha Drishtyapi says this is from the spiritual point of view. Now let's see from the material point of view. If you don't consider that there is a soul in the body, then let's see the body. So deha drishtya api ubhyor api panch bhautikatvat maya shakti vritti rupat. Says body also, both the bodies are made from the five material elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether. So both belong to the same maya potency. The soul belongs to the Lord's intermediate potency. Body belongs to the Maya potency, which is his external energy. So where is the enmity? Bhagavan Maya eva tasmin bhratrivyatva drishtya miyam. So it's only because of the ignorance created by the Maya of the Lord that I was bewildered. And I thought like this. मया एतत् प्रार्थितं व्यर्थं चिकित्सैव गतायुषि प्रसाद्य जगदात्मानं तपसा दुष्प्रसादनं भवच्छिदमया चेहं भवभाग्यविवर्जितः. So he says, what did I do actually? He says that I prayed to the Lord for some useless thing, material thing, although he can give me the highest thing. He gives an example for this. He says it is just like the person is about to die from a disease. Then he begs the doctor and he says that please give me medicine. So he gives him medicine, and after taking the medicine he dies. So what is the use of this medicine? The person is going to die. It's like sometimes people have heart problem or some other problem, you take them to hospital and they'll say, well, he has just few hours more to live. And then still you insist, put him on the ventilator and give him intravenous medicines. So you keep him artificially breathing. What is the use? He's unconscious. So if our life is finished, then what is the value of medicine? So he says like that, I asked for this position, but the position and I both are temporary. Instead of asking for something permanent, so instead of asking the doctor that he increase my lifespan, if suppose doctor has the ability to increase the lifespan, instead of asking that he increase my lifespan, you say give me medicine. But according to astrology, you have no more life. You are going to die. So he says it's like this. That's what I did. Prasadya Jagadatmanam, and that I pleased the Supreme Lord. Tapsa Dusprasadam, by performing intense austerities. And Bhavchidamaya Chehim Bhavam Bhagya. He says, therefore I am most unfortunate person, Bhagya Vivarjita, that my fortune has left me, it has abandoned me. He says, this guy is useless. So he left. Bhogya vastuno bhav karanatvat bhavam. So it's not much commentary. It says the word bhava means these objects which one can enjoy here in the material world. Swarajyam yachato modhyan mano me bhikshito bata Ishwarat kshina punyena phalikara nivadhana. So he says that my situation is like this, that just like if some poor fellow goes to an emperor and he asks him some grain with chaff. He says, in the same way, stupidly I pleased the Lord and I only asked him to protect my honor. Although he could have given me love, devotion, bhakti. Swarajyam yachato modhyam manu me dikshito. So that's all I begged, that my honor should be protected. Swasmin bhaktya rajantayeti kimva swamev rat rajaye sante swarajo dasa te sambhave swarajyam dasyam. So he says that the word swarajyam, which literally means supreme independence, here it means bhakti, because devotees They are the only independent beings. So he says that he was giving me this bhakti, but because of my pride, abhimana kshina punyena kshina charatvena yatha adhana, I only asked that give me this position which will protect my pride. So just like a indigent poor fellow, Maharaj Chakravarti na sakasat falikaran satus tundal kanon bhikshate. That you go to some big emperor and tell him that you please give me rice, not rice without the chef, but with the chef. That is called tandul. At least ask for rice that you can cook it. This you have to beat it to remove. So I said that is my situation. Satu vidagdaha parma udaro raja yatha tasmai tan manorathati tam sampattim gatati tathai bhagwan mayam swadham vasitvam. So he said, just like king who is very generous and wise, he understands that this person has come to me and still he does not even know what to ask. So he gives him plenty of wealth. Like that, Lord is very generous and gracious. So he has given me residence in his own abode. Means he has given him salokya mukti, at least this much he has done to him. Now, mama nirbuddhitvam param kashtha bhagat bhagavatasya karunya adarya sima tikshanam savisnayam ativismita adhuditi bhava. So the significance of this statement of Dhruva is that he was completely surprised that how I am so unwise and less intelligent, that this is the limit of being less intelligent, nirbuddhi, unwise, that you have the Lord standing in front of you and you ask something material. And on the other hand, Lord, He is the limit of generosity, that He gave me such a high position above His own abode. So He is wondering at the character of Lord. That is the meaning of the statement. So these were the 5 slokas, which were 6 slokas spoken by Dhruva. Now there will be a description how Dhruva will be received when he goes back to his father's kingdom. That will be good.
These devas, there are 2, the devas and the asuras.
Yes.
And the asuras do their activities to enjoy independently from the Lord, and the devas do so.
Devas are somewhat devoted,
Mm-hmm.
but they are also not fully devoted.
Even the devas are fully devoted.
Yeah. They are more like sakam bhaktas. They have desire, they want to be happy, enjoying, not fully surrendering. But they acknowledge Lord and His rule.
Mm-hmm.
Asuras, they want to go against and remain independent.
This Gyayatam Manapapajante principle, Krishna says that he reciprocates equally, but it seems that he's actually more lenient, at least in the case of Dhruva. He seemed to extend more mercy than Dhruva was requesting.
Yeah, he's always like that. When people approach him for material gains, he always gives more than. Because he thinks that if I give him something material now, then he will come and trouble me again.
He'll take the whole universe again.
So he doesn't want this trouble. So he says, okay, he gives so much that you won't ask again. So he gives more.
It seems that is a proportion between the connection between independent desire, envy, and surrender. These three things are all related.
Yes.
As more one is surrender, less is envious, and also less independent desires. Seems that the independent desire creates, like, let's say that we can use the envy meter next to the mind, like, means that I still have some personal desire which are not related to the mind. So in one sense, seems that also envy has a positive, like a positive in the sense that it looks like a ringing bell. I say, I still have this envy, or if I find myself again in this situation, or something like, is something is only speculation.
No, it is related with the ego. The desires, they're all related with the ego, and the ego is thinking I'm independent.
Yeah, this independence.
And all these thoughts and desires come.
And then
And the ego is changed that I am not independent, but I am servant. Then it changes.
because many times we can also think, I'm not envious, I don't feel envy for this particular thing or for that particular situation. But then suddenly, it's something like a sleeping beast or something like that. And at one point it comes up, it wakes up. And
Yes.
then if somebody's...
Because every emotion is not manifest always. So it's like you have these fruits, flowers, they are not manifest all the time. They come in their season. And the time is favorable. So all these emotions are also looking for the favorable opportunity. And the opportunity comes and they manifest. At the time they are lying low in the seed form.
Yeah, because by now seeing that it's very clear that envy is a complete antagonist to the devotion.
Yes, it's totally. It has not, because envy and love cannot go together. So, cannot love God and be envious of God. How is it possible?
Because ultimately it's envy for the Lord.
Yes.
How do we take responsibility for the mistakes of others?
Now you take responsibility of your own mistakes. That itself is a great thing. If you can do that, then you are a Mahatma. Then you are a saint. But usually we don't do that. We take responsibility of others' good works. We like to take credit of something which others have done, and if I have messed up something, then it is because of others. And we throw the responsibility on others. This is what people do generally.
But for example, these devas, they were like alarmed, or they're always alarmed that somebody can go on the, let's say now Dhruva wants to go to Vaikuntha. They're not living in Vaikuntha, they're not in Vaikuntha, they want to stay there. They like to be in that position.
And this is what envy means.
So then, why becoming so, to think, to go and disturb?
When you have material desires, when you have material ego, then envy is there. It's simple. It's the byproduct of that. So only solution is this pure bhakti. It's the only solution. Otherwise you can go anywhere, any position, the disease will go with you. You have to see the root cause of the disease. So root cause of disease is this Bhinnamati or Prithagmati, this separatist mentality. As long as this remains, then all problems remain. May not be in a very gross form, in subtle form. So that, therefore Krishna says, Sarvadharman Paripajya Mamekam Sharanam. He is saying surrender. That is the only solution. Manmana. Bhagavad Bhakta. Fix your mind on me, be my devotee. If that is not done, then problems will remain. They don't go anywhere. They're just hanging around looking for an opportunity. As soon as the opportunity comes, they will manifest. Like the seeds, they grow and the rains come. Otherwise, in the summer, everything dries up here. As soon as the rain comes, then you see all kinds of weeds, grass, and various types of worms, mosquitoes, everything flourishes. You get so many frogs, they're all inside. Snakes.
Suffering that is caused by other beings, and ultimately that is our suffering of our own mind, but that's where that suffering began. How do we understand and overcome if there's still some subtle disturbance, even if just in the frame of thoughts revolved around that person or those disturbances that were created?
Well, if it is very obvious, then you try to protect yourself. If you cannot protect, if you cannot help it, like some mic is going on here. Okay?
Yeah.
So this is also disturbance to me, caused by others. So if I cannot do anything, then I just tolerate it and say, well, this is my karma. The price I try to live here. So keep your mind balanced.
What about if it's something, in some ways, something that's going on now can be easier than something that was in the past? Because it's now, and then that practice can be in the focus. But if it's something in the past, and so the mind is, there's this vritti that is still there.
Yeah, so then you also try to rationalize that, think about it, that what is the benefit in this to me? What do I gain from it? Except that it is a disturbance. Mind tries to brood on it and manifest also emotions. And you get so much absorbed and carried away that you even forget where you are and what you are doing. But then we have to use our wisdom. That what do I gain? It's a waste of time. So that we have to stop it consciously. So you have to first become aware of it and then try to switch it off. It will keep coming again and again because we have relisted it in the past, positively or negatively. So therefore it manifests. So now you have to disempower it, to play politics in it. So make it weaker and weaker by not listening to it. Because we are the one who fed it. And more we have fed, more it is nourished and strong, and it comes happily. So when we start starving it, then it will become weak, and it will die.
And how do we distinguish between starvation and repression?
Repression means you actually have still liking for it. But you somehow, because of the social convention or whatever, you don't want to do it. That is repression. But when you have understood it with your intellect that it is not good and you have no doubt about it, then that is starvation.